get some light rain showers behind the main line that has come through, but you're about done. Certainly Dixon, Calhoun, Owensboro, you've even been taken out of the tornado watch, which is certainly some good news. And the tornado watch, even for the Bowling Green area, is going to expire here at 10 o'clock in 30 minutes. So we're hoping that a lot of this just begins to become more rainy, more what we call stratiform. Stratiform is just layer of clouds, lots of rain. It's where just rain takes over a big piece of real estate. That is, yeah, back there is a good example of it that Micah is showing you. Mayfield, Paducah. It's not the storm part, it's just the rain part of the system. Which means things are starting to stabilize a little bit more, which is certainly good news. I haven't really seen any more reports, and we got a lot more. There's a lot of reports of hail, the large hail that we had earlier, but I haven't seen any new reports of hail, which is also a good indication that things are trying to switch modes.
We've got a few reports over towards our north, towards like the local Valley Station, Radcliffe, as you see on your screen. Elizabethtown even possibly, I think, may have put out a public report, but none around here. I have seen a few photos. Of course, don't have that right now, but there are a few people that may be watching and are around Warren County that their windshields did go in. I saw a picture just a little bit earlier where their windshield on their car did go due to the hail. But as you mentioned, we have seen less hail reports, at least, over these last couple of hours through this last hour or so with this second line that we can see.
Well, I know that many of you who have sent in some of the photos of the large hail, you're like, whew, I'm glad that part's done. And for the most part, it is done. There still may be a little bit embedded in the line of storms as it comes in. There you can see he's put on the hail track.
Not as definite as what's still back here.
Yeah, that's where the worst of it is. And see, that's where you're getting the large hail, potentially damaging hail with that tornado warning that's now over the Russell Springs area of Russell County and over towards south of Liberty, Kentucky. But all of this, there may be little pea-sized hail in there, but I don't think there's going to be much more than that. And it's all just going to change to a lot of heavy rain, occasional lightning, rumbles of thunder, and maybe a gust of wind. In fact, Micah, let's do a couple of things with the Kentucky Mesonet graphics. Let's show wind. Okay, there's the temperature.
Let's go with sustained wind first.
Sustained winds, pretty light,
Not
except
exactly
for
prominent. I mean, you've got Franklin down here.
Yeah.
18.
18. You got 23 in Munfordville, sustained with that line of storms, but
well, there's a 44.
Are the gusts? Yeah, there you go. Munfordville, you just had a wind gust of 44 miles per hour at the Mesonet site there, just outside of Munfordville.
That's tropical storm strength for the Saffir-Simpson scale. If we were going with that hurricane force winds, and of course that's sustained winds. We were talking about gusts. But 44 miles an hour. That's pretty prominent.
Now let's look at rainfall. I'm curious as to how much.
We tallied at least an inch so far just with the stuff from this morning. But it doesn't look like we've added all too much. 2.3 in Butler County, 1.8.
Yeah.
And that's still to come. That's the main line is still remaining to come.
Well, you can see that a lot of it is right here. where that main line is coming through.
I'm wondering over just to our area. There's that red there. I'm wondering what that looks like. Let me look that up myself.
That is Christian County.
Yeah, you've got Christian County right there. I'm wondering.
Yeah.
What kind of numbers they've come in with so far? Really, they're almost done. As I should say.
Right.
2.51 is what the readings there.
2.5 inches.
It's saying that on the Kentucky Mesonet site that it's got it even a little bit more for Butler County at 2.89, nearing 3 inches for that. So the information isn't updating as quickly as we would like. 1.86 in Muhlenberg County.
Okay. Well, we said that we would pick up some pretty decent rainfall out of this system, and we have, and it's still coming down. I mean, we're not done with the heavy rain just yet, as you can see on real-time radar. We're still getting some heavy downpours of rain.
But they have now made this a destructive severe thunderstorm warning approaching Todd County. Still not entirely in our area, but it's just that, I mean, Todd County is right next to Logan County, and Logan County is into that more central area that we would be looking at.
Yeah, so I'm looking at that one. Now, you may not have heard of it before, but a destructive severe thunderstorm warning is kind of a new distinction. It has that tag on it that says destructive, and that's because what they're looking at here is winds could be up to 90 miles an hour. 90 miles an hour. Some of the wind coming out of that gust front in that Boeing segment that is now just east of Hopkinsville now and moving toward Elkton.
See if I can bring that up. Winds looks to be the threat there of 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
70 mile per hour wind gusts and quarter size hail. Let me make sure this is the right. Yes, this is the right one. That's coming up as on our screen here. Destructive severe thunderstorm warning until 10:15.
Yeah. So what they're wording inside the warning is they say it's an extremely dangerous situation with tornado-like wind speeds. Mobile homes and high-profile vehicles like tractor-trailer trucks susceptible to the winds of that magnitude and may be overturned. So that's a little bit of a different kind of severe thunderstorm warning that we're not used to seeing. It is something that is a little bit more new, if you will, from the Weather Service offices, in that they can tag some of these warnings and give it a little bit more of a descriptor. And you see out there, it's got that, go back, there you go, destructive. Instead of just a severe thunderstorm warning, destructive because of the winds. So,
but they haven't extended this tornado warning back here. It's still we're still 5-6 minutes away here, Chris, until that's expired.
yeah.
But maybe that's a switch out for what we're seeing here. Yes, it seems to be building strength. I want to say when it was a severe thunderstorm warning back here,
Right.
making its way through Trigg and towards more of the Todd County area. I want to say it was 60 mile per hour winds. So it seems to be gaining speed and velocity and destructive winds.
And you could probably turn on the velocity scan there and see exactly what they're talking about. You're not going to see inbound, outbound winds together because this is not tornadic anymore. This is all straight line winds. Pushing, what is that? That, now keep in mind,
Yeah.
before you What? 97? No.
Estimated. Estimated.
This is Doppler radar estimated winds, potentially 75, 86, 83, 92.
Not trying to pick just random places here, but
this is where the greatest concept. Look at that, 103 mile.
you're
Now,
looking at Category 1 then.
Yeah. So
If these are true, that is. Of course, these are,
Right.
as you just mentioned, I just want to make sure that's communicated here. These are just estimated winds. It's not shown on that what was shown on the NWS tag on there. It just says 70-mile-per-hour winds, but the estimated.
Yeah,
It's
I'm coming.
once the winds actually, the radar beam is going and seeing those potentially damaging winds of 80, 90, 100 miles per hour. But once the winds actually hit ground, they're not going to be quite that strong, but still very strong winds coming through Hopkinsville
There's your storm umbrella.
right now. Yeah. So we're not seeing real rotation here. Everything is uniform. The storm collapsed down to the ground. With those kind of winds, for the wind 100 plus miles per hour, not be ground, not it's a catch. And that's the concern. So here's let's go to the
Let's take a look at that baseball camera. Those cubs are looking at pretty quick, maybe
Wow.
in some kind of development. It almost looks like daytime, as our producer Quincy
well,
is saying.
the
over
reason
here.
why it looks like it's almost daytime tells you how the clouds are. City lights on that cloud, the low overcast, the so low that we're
Let's just, just dig more parts further into.
So, 9:43, we're less than 20 minutes away from the 10 o'clock news. And I think what we can is we're going to give a team chance to the 10 o'clock news up. That and get everybody ready for 10 o'clock check. So there's the incoming line of storms, the low clouds, the radar still pretty active, but we're going to just take this moment. We'll be back in 15 minutes, the top of the hour, for News 40 on CBS and NBC 40 here at W. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Nervous, scared. I think I was living.
That is where we're seeing that possible tornado. Now, that is heading out of the News 40 viewing area, so now the focus is going to shift from that cell to the line. Now, this is what's coming in, and I've just kind of been peeking out at the monitors here in the studio, and watching lightning start to tick up here as well, ahead of that line. So if you're watching that line and you're hearing some thunder, and you've noticed maybe lightning flashing through your windows or whatever, it is because of this line that's about to move in. It's right now over Greenville, it's over Central City, it's over Breckenridge County, in that area, Ohio County, all the way down to Muhlenberg County. That's where severe thunderstorm warnings are going on right now. And there is a new tornado warning, I just noticed, back in Detroit County. That's Cadiz, Kentucky, the land between the lakes. So that, and you can see how that cell is bowing out. See it right there? That's a bow segment. Let's look in on that one. I'm just curious.
Go
Yeah.
into Paducah.
Yeah, Paducah will give you better resolution. There we go. So the community of Hardin, there's Murray, Benton, Kentucky. You've got 641 that runs through there. You've got 6880 that runs through Cadiz and out toward that same area. But it's this segment bowing out that is where you've got the worst of the winds. And there might be, and they're probably looking at right in here. It's hard to see with this velocity scan.
Let's see if anything's better. Oh, that's not Paducah. There we go.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I would say that notch right there. Even though it's not red and green together, that notch is all it takes. And that's where we would talk about more likely a little spin up, brief tornado. Not big tornadoes. This would be something brief. In fact, there's a new scan. It's starting to get a little color to it. Right there, just northeast of the Hardin community, west of Cadiz. Right along, pretty much right along 6880. So that's why they put that tornado warning out for that area. Look at the cluster of lightning. See, there's, again, it's almost like a red flag. Here it is, right there. It's like, look at all this lightning. Here I am. This is a little notch right there. That's where the circulation is going on. It's trying to tighten up and possibly cause a tornado or produce a tornado. And while I'm seeing some of the lightning pick up and tick up here in Bowling Green, I'm also just now hearing a little rumble of thunder. So all of this is coming ahead of the main line of thunderstorms as it begins to roll through. So let's go back out.
Yeah.
And show the entire line. And look how much of a straight line this is now. As all these little cells have come together and have joined forces into one big line of strong thunderstorms, very heavy rain, gusty winds. There may be some hail, maybe not as large as what we saw with that big supercell, but still, nonetheless, has the capability of not only damaging wind, but maybe just a little brief spin-up tornado is certainly possible, as we're seeing down there in Trigg County. So we're putting a timer on that entire squall line of thunderstorms. And there you see Vine Grove, Litchfield, 906, 907, Radcliffe. Then you go on down to Quality, that's in Butler County. Clarkson in Grayson County at 9:10, 10 after 9. Lewisburg, again, you're going to get hit again, this time from a long line of thunderstorms and not a tornado type situation, but 10 after 9, Lewisburg into parts of Logan County. Then you go Sharon Grove, Jetson, Fairview, all of those, Butler County and forward. So yeah, we're already getting the lightning and the thunder here in Bowling Green. In fact, I just saw another good lightning strike. Let's go to a camera or two. Courtesy of AAA Systems, they're the ones that install all of our cameras. And look at there.
Well, there it is.
So we're looking off to the west, and we're seeing, of course, downtown Bowling Green, and we're seeing some pretty good lightning flashes now with that line as it begins to come in. And we're going to see an increase in the number of lightning strikes and heavy rainfall as this goes from more of an individual supercell mode into that more linear line of thunderstorms and heavy rain and gusty winds. You notice the temperature has fallen to 65 degrees. That's that rain cooled air, as we were in the 80s when all of this started, and now we're in the 60s all across the area. There's still some 70s, but I'm starting to see more 60s now with those westernmost cities that are in the Kentucky Mesonet network. Still close to 80 down there in Elkton in Todd County.
Can we take that camera from the baseball field? I think we're getting a lot of activity there.
Can
from
we
that
take
baseball?
Which camera is on there? Is
Three.
it two?
Can we
Three?
take camera 3?
Camera 3. There we go. Now let's just sit on this for a minute. Look at that tarp on the infield.
I don't think they're going to be playing
I-
any innings tonight.
Yeah, no, rain delay, not just rain delay, but they're going to have to reschedule that one. I don't know if they'll double up tomorrow or whatever they've got planned for the Bowling Green Hot Rods, but
It looked pretty active until we took it.
yeah, just give it a second here. It's going to start to pop.
My patience.
Because I've been watching it the last 3 minutes. Yeah, okay. So there's back to downtown. We're seeing. It's oh yeah.
Yeah.
So our producer Quincy's like, oh, this one has lightning, and then we put it and there's nothing there. That's the way it works. But anyway, so this is where the storms are coming in. That long line of storms now approaching. Here's Bowling Green, Brownsville. We're getting a little activity out ahead of the main line, but all of this will start to come together. It will catch up with some of these renegade showers that are out ahead of the system. These are not necessarily supercell in nature, but they're just little outliers, if you will, that are just waiting for the main line to come in and catch up with them, and then they'll all come together. So the line, as it comes through, will produce, I think, it will have the capability of producing damaging wind and flooding rain. Now, the flooding rain part of this entire event hasn't been talked about all that much because, well, let's just face it. Okay. It's flooding is not as sexy as tornadoes.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's also, Chris, it's kind of become a normality through
For us,
2025.
yes,
I mean,
this
12,
year,
12 to 13 inches above the seasonable normal.
Yeah.
Like it's become kind of normal. You talked about it this morning
mhm.
through your conversation with Jim Cantori. I mean,
Yeah, for those that don't know, Jim Cantori of the Weather Channel texted me like just before 5 a.m. and he said, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "Sure, I'm ready." And so he was going back and he said, "Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you've had 2 major flooding events, right? And we've had several rounds of severe weather, a little more active than usual this year in 2025. And I said, yes, you're right. You're correct. And so he used that on the Weather Channel when he was texting me while he was on the air on the Weather Channel this morning, which is pretty cool. But Jim is Jim is engaged in this stuff and he has been following it all day. I should have wrote him back and said, Jim, I'm glad you're not in Bowling Green or Southern Kentucky, because if you were here, this may be a lot worse than what we're seeing right now. But anyway, so getting back to this, severe thunderstorm warnings, numerous severe thunderstorm warnings, and only 2 tornado warnings that we are seeing right now. And that's good news, because back behind this line, Evansville, Carbondale, Cape Girardeau, St. Louis, where they had tornadoes today, they're all in the clear, and the skies have cleared, and everything has settled down a lot from where it was just earlier. So we're looking in on the line of storms approaching Bowling Green, and the one tornado approaching Bowling Green, and the one tornado warning that's kind of in our viewing area is up there near Hardinsburg and Breckinridge County and parts of Hardin County until 9:15, and then the one that's down south in Trigg County until 9:45, and then Adair County tornado warning until 9:45 in Russell County. So that line is going to continue to push in. I don't think we're going to see as much of a hail threat with this line. It's just going to be a lot of lightning, the potential for gusty winds, and intense lightning. You can see all the lightning that we've got going inside that. And then it's just going to be a lot of heavy rain. A lot of heavy rain. Some of you could have an inch and a half or more with that line as it comes through. So if you've already picked up an inch or two today, some of this morning, and you're about to pick up that much more, then you're likely to have some standing water.
Seriously?
In your yard, or if you live on a road that is prone to flooding, it's going to happen again. And the creeks and the streams and the rivers are going to go back up, because in some cases, there's still some remote locations, I kid you not, that are still dealing with some water that's just sitting on the ground.
Not happening.
That's nowhere to go. With the cave and the karst area is being filled up.
He's pissed.
It just has nowhere to go. So that is going to be a new problem. That's kind of an old problem that's going to come back. Maybe it's not as bad as what we had in April, but some of you, I would not be surprised, Micah, to see some of these areas getting some very heavy rain switch over to, say, an aerial flood advisory, or maybe even a flood warning or something like that as that line pushes through. It is moving at a good clip, and that's probably taking us from getting a lot of flooding, but I still think there's going to be some issues with high water out there.
We've seen, I mean, nothing in terms of a flash flood warning or anything like that, but we have seen areas, some of them which are easier. Review Avenue, has notoriously flooded pretty easily. It flooded, I think, this morning. But those areas that are more prone to flooding, should potentially be seeing flash flood warning fairly soon if this stratiform rain continues further into the night.
Yeah, and the more I look at this with the new tornado warning that has just been issued for parts of Grayson and Hart, this takes Hart County now. So let's look at that. Until 9:45 warning, and it's for the back part of this storm, which is about to move into, and it's again because it's a line and not an individual supercell like we've been tracking all night, practically. It's not one cell. There are these little peaks in the line where we're picking up maybe just a little bit of rotation, something that throw out a brief tornado. And it may only last for a few seconds or a minute or two, and not a very strong tornado, but that can still do damage. That potential that we see with the line that's now about to move through Litchfield and into parts of Grayson County. So if Litchfield seek shelter right now from this their brief tornado that spent anywhere you see the greens and reds coming together, there's several of these that are there on the leading edge of the strongest part of that line of storms. And so the tornado warning has been issued. So this is different from the one big supercell that we had 300 miles from Missouri into parts of the Lake Cumberland at this tower. And I'm seeing more clusters of lightning going on there with that as well. So it's picking up, even though the atmosphere worked pretty well, it's picking up on available energy, and it's using that little spin up of a tornado. It's a big, but it's a possibility enough that the Weather Service has put that tornado warning out. So this down that line, if you mic it, and you can see how it's starting to kind of go back all the way down to just this is where we go out at upper winds down to the ground and push damaging straight line winds out of the main area of rain, thunders. That's where you could get wind, 70 miles per hour in some cases. Warned that the potential was there for almost Category 1 hurricane strength winds. All this comes together, which it has. Category 1 hurricane is 74
mile per hour wind is Category 1.
Yeah. Okay. So imagine some of the winds the storms is putting down is or could be close to Category 1 hurricane strength. That's what we're dealing with. Seeing that is that a continuance of the first tornado warning Gate is in Trigg County?
Yeah, it's just a continuance to and a losing of the back half of that.
Okay, yeah, and some of the tornado watches now shake off from say south of Princeton all the way down to Mayfield. We're under the same tornado watches we are now. Since behind this line, it's a watch no longer a threat for tornado western Kentucky, which is some good news. Hearing a little bit more in the way of thunder here.
Yeah, I think
downtown.
Seems like the sky lit up in downtown. If we take those cameras there.
Yeah, let's go to a ballpark. First right we go to, there's nothing. But we'll just wait. Let's just look here for a minute.
Is there somebody's snake out there?
Where?
In the left.
No, that is a piece of equipment.
Okay, I'm glad.
Yeah,
I just saw there was something shining or something moving.
Yeah.
Are braver than me. I think that much braver.
Yeah, the ballpark, as fun as it is, and it's such a great place that it is for entertainment, concerts, baseball games, whatever. There's some of that lightning. It is not a safe place to be in severe weather. Just not. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be there at all. Okay, let's inspect now the strongest part of the storm that's coming through. Here is Storm Inspector. This is a special piece of software that we have on our radar that can look for hail. That's where the greatest hail located, just south and including Morgantown and down almost to the northern of Logan County. You see more lightning strikes that are happening here, where you see the dark green. That's some very heavy rainfall. Rainfall rates in some of these areas, it's going to be close to an inch an hour, maybe more than that. And that is, 2 inches an hour there next to that hail that you see. That's the brighter green. Pictures get Rochester. Rochester, you don't need any more water at all. You're right there on the Green River. You've had incredible flooding. Your entire town has been underwater for the last month. You don't need any more rain, but you're getting it, whether you like it or not. It's there. And as you can see, rainfall rates and hail, there's still a little bit of hail trying to come out of the strongest part of the line of storms as it comes through. And here's some good news at Greenville, Rockport, Beaver Dam. You're out of the threat of severe weather now. Everything is kind of south or east of you, if you're watching. And here comes
some rain.
More rain. I don't hear any hail. This lightning. I'm looking at the corner of my eye. It's pretty intense. Tornado warning for southern Christian County.
We've also got the new severe thunderstorm warning that's entering more parts across the area, even encompassing some of Barron County, a lot of the Warren County area into northern parts, the central parts of Barron County, really encompassing Edmonson County as well.
Yeah, so that new severe thunderstorm warning, north Logan, south central LaRue, that would take in the Hodgenville area, all of Hart County, southeastern Butler, southeastern Grayson, all of Warren County, northwestern Barron, and all of Edmonson County until 10 p.m. So what they're doing here is they're looking at this line, and you know it's going to come through these places. So they just, let's just go ahead and issue a big aerial type severe thunderstorm warning that takes in a pretty good chunk of real estate, because that line has got to go through all these places: Munfordville, Brownsville, Bowling Green, Morgantown. It's going to take in all these locations all the way up to Hodgenville. And so that's why they're doing that.
In hopes that this will be the last warning they have to, issue for these areas that have been taken in.
So it's moving east at 40, the main part of that line, moving east at 40, up to 70 mile per hour wind gusts are possible with that line. And of course, we're getting still some indication that there could be some hail within that. And the tornado watch expires at 10 o'clock, maybe. maybe it will expire. For along and east of Interstate 65, the tornado watch continues until 3 a.m. because it's going to take still several hours to get that line over toward the Green River Lake, Lake Cumberland, Dale Hollow Lake areas. So you're still going to be a while for you guys. But for us in Bowling Green and to the west, it's now starting to come through. There's still a couple of little warnings here, and those warnings are happening because they're seeing those little kinks in the line on the velocity scans where we can see the little kinks that could, it's not a guarantee, but it could produce a brief, weak, somewhat weak tornado. These are not your big tornadoes. Those are not happening now, which is good news in the switching modes of severe weather from large hail tornado type storms to more linear heavy rain damaging wind threat, and maybe just a brief spin up right along the leading edge of that line as it comes through. But you see how nice it is back west of that line. It calms down very quickly, which is good. So as long as there's still a tornado warning or so in our viewing area, then we're going to stick with this. It's coming up on 9:30, and guys, I don't know if this is going to continue on through the 10 o'clock hour or the 10 o'clock newscast. We'll just have to kind of let this play out and see. If we get fewer tornado warnings, then I think we could be able to do a normal 10 o'clock newscast. So I'm just relaying that to guys and gals that are behind the behind the wall here, pushing buttons and making sure everything is set up and ready for the newscast just in case. So we'll be ready for that, and we'll just kind of play it by ear how this is going to unfold. But as long as there's still a tornado warning out for a portion of our viewing area, we stick with it. The severe thunderstorm warnings, I am not that all concerned about, because these are not the kind of severe thunderstorms that would then produce tornadoes. We are now no longer in that kind of mode of severe weather. So as the rain increases and the coverage of rain increases over the area, less of a threat of getting a tornado appears likely. So I see that change is happening now, and that's a good sign. Because all you have to do is go west of that line and everything is done. So if you live in Ohio County, Hartford Dam, if you happen to be watching us from there, you can go to bed. You can, well, I should say, now you have to stay up and watch the 10 o'clock news. Then you can go to bed. If I was just being selfish, But, hey, everything is behind you now. Even though that severe thunderstorm warning looks like it takes in part of Ohio County, they were accounting for the tail end of that line coming through, but you're fine. If you're in Ohio County, Hartford, Beaver Dam, go to bed, you're fine. I think even though Central City is getting a little bit of rain, you're out of the woods as far as the severe weather threat. Madisonville, you should be fine. You still